Like insurance is not, it's not dusty and old. It's exciting, and it's also exciting because it's such an old industry that it's on the cusp of change.
Yeah.
And it's us that are gonna be making the change.
Hi, everyone. I'm Joe Richards. I was a Global Insurance Accelerator intern in 2019, and I was an actuarial science student at Drake University.
My name's Taylor. I'm originally from the Twin Cities, went to Drake from 2016 to 2020, and I studied marketing and I had a minor in data analytics.
I'm Andrew Burnt. I graduated from Drake University in Des Moines, Iowa in spring of 2021 with an actuarial science major. For the Global Insurance Accelerator, I worked with them for the 2020 and 2021 programs.
So as an actuarial intern, I was helping these startups think about risk, analyzing risk, and also helping them create financial projections and various Excel models to help forecast their startups.
A lot of the projects that I worked on was helping the founders identify how to message what they're doing to their target audience. For Caregiving, which is a startup that works with providing care for a caregiver after a loved one dies, I worked really closely with Candace in helping her really understand what the message she needed to tell her audience was. So this was doing a lot of research in figuring out what was already out there, what was working, what wasn't working, and then doing more research around who the target audience is, really giving them a definite persona, and then helping blend the two, who they are and what the message needs to be.
In 2021, I primarily worked with Sola Insure, who sold parametric tornado insurance. And that's essentially insurance that provides a quick payout to a policyholder in the event their home was hit by a tornado. So the dollar values range from $1,000 to $10,000 based on the severity of the tornado. So Sola kind of had this idea in mind of providing insurance, but didn't know exactly how it would play out with the true frequency and severity of tornadoes that were spread across the US and how that would really vary. I designed a program that essentially simulated the frequency and severity of a tornado and assigned a score to that for every zip code in the United States. And that was a great baseline for Sola as a company. But another aspect that I thought would be great to incorporate into that equation was population density, because a single tornado can hit many different policyholders. So additionally for Sola, I ran a study with a model that I built to simulate how many times worse a very dense area could be if a very severe tornado hits that area.
Yes, I would encourage any student to intern at the GIA because you get to see a lot of the innovation happening in the insurance industry, and you get to really pick companies that are doing something that you're interested in, and you can also add a lot of value to their startups and their business plans and so forth.
A lot of reasons. Megan and Nicole are awesome, so it's really fun to work with them. I think that it is a really unique opportunity to work in a tech startup. I know oftentimes the pull is to go to a large company that's going to give you, a lot of assurance in the future, but you're young right now. There's no better time to experience something that's fast paced and new in the market than right now, when you have literally nothing to lose and you get paid to learn every day.
In the GIA, I found that I was really able to own my work and improve a company in the way that I found best. In some of my previous internships and internships that I've heard from other people, I feel like your hand can really be held through a lot of the process. Your manager and other internships can tell you, this is what you're going to be working on, this is the program you're going to use to do that, and this is the final destination that we want. But at the GIA, you see a company that is insanely innovative with a founder that's very passionate about it, and you look for ways that you can improve that with the background that you have. And I think that is experience that is extremely hard to find elsewhere.
Throughout my experience at the GIA, you really learn how to, navigate your career. So you get to determine what companies you work for, and you get to really display how you can add value to those companies. And that's been a really valuable experience for me as I take on new projects and have to demonstrate my value towards those projects.
I learned how incredibly challenging it is to start a company. And I'm definitely going to take that with me. So, I mean, I do see myself as being an entrepreneur. When the day comes, I will have a full vision of what that looks like. So I'm not going to go into it blindly. I also really understand that, work is best done when it's tied to a passion. Everybody that came in the door of the GIA was so passionate about what they were building that it made them excited to work every day. And I'm looking for that in my job. And I feel like I have somewhat found it now to motivate myself to do my best work.
There were a few things that I really felt like the GIA helped me build on personally. I'd say in the short term, the Global Insurance Accelerator really helps me determine what I can bring to the table and how I can add value to a company. Going into the GIA, I was a little intimidated because I had learned a lot of things in my classes and through my exams that were technically focused, but transitioning that into applying those skills to a company was something that I wasn't really completely sure about. But looking at holes in these companies and actually getting to hone those skills that I had learned in and apply them in a professional environment really helped me determine what skills that I can bring to the table and allow me to apply them long-term in my career. More long-term, I think the GIA really helped me in finding areas that can be improved in a company. As I mentioned, in a lot of other areas, you're kind of told like this is going to be your role in other companies, and this is what you want to. This is what we want you to improve. But in the GIA, I really had the opportunity to see like this is an area that can be improved in a company. And into my future roles, I think when I'm looking at processes in larger areas, when I'm just kind of a smaller wheel in the cog as opposed to taking over an area at the GIA, I'm going to be able to determine areas that can be influenced by myself and how I can make those better. And I think the GIA has played a massive role in that.
The culture was really interesting at the GIA. All of the companies come together, and the founders and everyone supports each other. And as an intern, it's really valuable to be a part of that and help contribute to that. And I've stayed in touch with a lot of the companies I've worked with, and they still help me today. So it's definitely the culture is the standout feature.
I think the most surprising part is the depth of my network and how far it brought me. I am at Cowbell now, and I never would have met the co-founder, Jack, if I hadn't have interned through the GIA. And I never would have had this unique opportunity to be in such a high growth startup and experience things and have the opportunity to, grow outside of my role and connect with the team across the country. So what's most surprising is how I'm leaning in on those relationships that I built now to build my career.
How much all of the founders truly valued the work and ideas that I brought to them. As I mentioned, a lot of the founders have very different expertise than myself, and bringing a different perspective to the table, I think, was often very, very insightful for them. And that's something I didn't quite realize when I was first coming in the GIA. I mean, all these people with the title of CEO can be a little bit intimidating. But then when I realized that I actually had a skill set that was beneficial for them, and that when our ideas came together, they could produce something great, I was very surprised and fulfilled with my work, knowing that it was actually making an impact in these companies.